Coming in at 1, Caleb. And Ben, have you ever seen the tush push become an explosive play? I haven't. Johnson.
Great start to the list.
Followed by Caleb's preferred team, the Vikings. JJ and Kevin O'Connell.
This gets off the.
Then Justin Fields, Cam Ward, and coming in 5th, Trevor Lawrence and Mr. Duval himself.
What?
Duval.
Was Drake May and God's gift to offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels?
There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of problems with this list. That's why I felt reluctant to put it in the show because Bucky Brooks is a friend, and every time we talk about him, we're
ripping him.
Bucky
Brooks is a friend, and I think he does a great job, particularly his podcasting, because his articles, we crush them all the time.
This is a tough one. This list.
I mean, I don't even listen. The JJ Kevin O'Connell thing, I understand. Kevin O'Connell
I don't hate that.
Is, I think, regarded as one of the 4 or 5 sharpest offensive minds in the league. Whether people can, that's just kind of the consensus feeling on him across the league.
That's what Caleb said.
And right, and if you liked JJ coming out of Michigan, as some people did, I don't think this show was as high on him as others. Then that makes sense. The next 2 are baffling to me. I obviously think Trevor should be higher. I understand I'm in the minority there, but in all seriousness, I would have Drake and Josh McDaniels up there.
Thank you.
If we're again, I think the Patriots have skill position offensive line. I think they have personnel issues. But I do like Vrabel as a culture setter. I do think Josh McDaniels is good. I don't know if I consider him elite, but I think he's good. And I like Drake May is, to me, obviously more talented than J.J. Fields. I think he's more talented than Cam Ward. I can't say obviously. Cam Ward just the number 1 pick of the draft. So, I don't totally buy a lot of this through.
Yeah, look, I don't think Cam Ward, and I'm not saying he can't be a really good quarterback down the road. I don't think he's pulling a Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, be worried about this year.
Or even a C.J. Stroud, to be honest. Yeah, so this year, if he has a great year, again, below those 2 guys, then I'm not worried about him. I actually think, I agree with Drake. I mean, I don't think the Patriots, Wilds are going to be that good, but Josh McDaniels is obviously proven, and Drake May is a talent. He showed that last year. But what about, and this is your guy, Geno.
Yeah.
Geno Smith with the Raiders. And even,
Geno and Chip Kelly. I wasn't even thinking of that because he's a veteran, so much older than the other guys. But that would be eligible for this.
And honestly, my main issue was Fields and then Ward. Yeah. And I would love for Fields to really be good. I have not fully given up on him, but I'm kind of excited about seeing what he can do with the Jets. But it's going to sound crazy, and I'm not Greg Jennings, but Daniel Jones in Indy. I think that's a pretty decent team.
Wow.
I'm serious. And
I don't even know if he's going to be the starter.
Well, I know they don't have him penciled in now, but I think he'll emerge as the
I thought
starter.
You were going to go Russ and Brian Dable.
Oh, I just think in that division, they're going to have their hands full.
I like that a lot.
Indy, I think you think Indy's got some talent.
Indy's
and Daniel Jones, and I'm not saying he's top 10 or anything like Greg. I'm just saying he never really had a good chance, and there was always a new coach, a new coordinator, and he didn't have many weapons outside of Saquon with the Giants. And so I just think
interesting.
I'm interested to see that.
I think Geno and Chip Kelly should have been on there. I didn't even jot them down because I was only thinking, when I was going through the list of, I was only thinking young quarterbacks, but he would have been eligible. I don't understand,
what about even Darnold in Seattle?
So I think people look at, for Darnold, that it's a downgrade in coaching. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
Right, that it's just you go from that situation there. I don't understand the Fields' optimism.
You haven't seen some of the balls he's been throwing?
I understand that some of our producers are Jets fans.
Right?
I think Justin Fields has had a lot of opportunities to show he's more than the exact player he was as a rookie.
You think?
He started a lot of games, man.
The Bears are the coaching regime he was under. The Bears were with Caleb. They got booted out. Then he went to Steelers, who have no idea what they're doing
was
on
4-2.
offense. And he actually did well, and they felt like that whole thing was just keeping the seat
Right,
warm
but
for Russ.
I guess that's kind of my point. He was in Pittsburgh. They actually were winning, and they were like, we know we can't get where we want to get to with him. And then, and by the way,
I just think that's the wrong call.
I understand that, I don't think you think they would have had a drastically different season had they stuck with
wasn't
Justin
throwing
Fields?
the ball.
I do not
Right.
believe.
He
I think
wasn't
when
throwing
you
the
talk
ball.
about Pittsburgh's decision making at quarterback, they
I-
were so in love with Russ, then they let go of Russ.
No,
to have no one.
No,
I think it's just bizarre.
I agree with you. My point is, he had two coaching regimes, two different regimes with the Bears, two different head coaches there. He then had the Steelers. We've seen him in 4 different offenses, and I've never seen. It's not like, oh, this is a better Justin Fields. It's always been the same, and so I don't have the optimism there that other people do.
Could have a Sam Darnold type run.
Sam Darnold type.
Not 14 wins, 4,000 yards, but like
and not
everybody
throwing
gave
it
up
like
on this
that.
guy, and he could pop.
I think with the defense we know is good. They do have some weapons. We think Aaron Glenn is going to be a good coach. I think maybe even if they start winning games, it's kind of going to be like he's not going to be leading them. I think it's going to be very ball control offense. He makes some plays here and there, and because of the defense and other things, they're winning.
His best case scenario is the year Daniel Jones had, the first year Dable was there.
Yeah.
Where he, you know what I mean? Where he was running the ball a ton. You know what I mean? They somehow won whatever games, 9-10 games. They made the playoffs that year. They even won a playoff game.
O'Connell.
Right. But I think it's fair to say that a guy, almost 5 years into his career is who he is. I think Justin Fields, we know who he is.
Meanwhile, Dan Campbell and the Lions have a tough schedule, lost both coordinators, but he's not worried. Take a listen.
Give us any nugget you need to. All right, it's all good. We'll take all of that. So give us every excuse, and we will use that, especially when the time is right. But we're not worried about. I'm not worried about that we don't have pass rush. I'm not worried about that we lost 2 coordinators. I'm not worried about the injuries. I'm not worried about the Hall of Fame game. I'm not worried about the schedule. I think it's perfect. I think it lines up perfect. I think it's going to be what's best for us.
Other news today is that the Lions' longtime center, Frank Ragnow, is retiring. That came out this morning, but I think Dan Campbell was aware of that. Brew, did you like this press conference from Dan Campbell?
Loved it. Loved it. This is the attitude and the approach. The no excuses, next man up, whatever it takes, us against the world, Detroit versus everybody mentality that changed that culture from one of the worst in the NFL to one of the best. It was, with all due respect to Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, they didn't change the culture. He changed it. Remember that kneecaps, all that mess?
Yeah, of course.
And everybody
How could
laughed
you
at him
forget?
and mocked him?
Yeah.
Well, he went out there and backed up his words. And this is, look, I said last week, I don't think they're winning 15 games. I don't think they're winning 14, maybe, or 13 necessarily.
I think their win total is at 10 and a half.
10 and a half.
So it's
I think they'll still be a good playoff team, but that's the attitude you have to have. You can't, and that's what your players need to see. No excuses. We are getting back Aiden Hutchinson. We do have a lot of our people returning that were great last year, so I like it.
Listen, I like this from him, but I think a lot of what he said is things Lions fans should be worried about. I am worried about the defense, particularly because I thought it was a defense that before the injuries just totally ravaged it, Aaron Glenn was, making the sum greater than, each individual part.
He kept them.
Right, and so I think that's problematic. I think that they already had some questions on the interior of the offensive line. That's now greater with Ragnow retiring. I think that the division, as you've said, is, probably the toughest in the NFL, if not on the very, very short list. Definitely, in my opinion, the toughest in the NFC. And I think there is a real emotional toll from the way they've been knocked out in the playoffs the last 2 years. Being this close to the Super Bowl and then the next year being from wire to wire the best team in the NFC, only to play your absolute worst game. And I am concerned how that game affects the guy over Wilds' shoulder, and it's not Dan Campbell I'm talking about. Yeah. I think that if you're Jared Goff and you were the #1 pick and then got that team to a Super Bowl after a bad rookie year but new head coach, and then that head coach who turned your career around gave up on you aggressively, to where in a playoff game you were healthy enough to play in, he started the Wolfman, and then was forced to play you, and then attached a first-round pick to trade you away to go get Stafford. And then this team that embraced you, you had to sit all offseason knowing I cost us. I had my worst game of the year, couldn't stop turning the ball over in a game we had no business losing. And it was because of me. I'm not saying I think it was 100% because of him, but I would imagine it's like, man, this is the guy that believed in me. That, you know what I mean? Like, and how that impacts him going into next year, I think it'd be human nature. And so I'm not, it's writing in stone, oh, Goff's going to be shell-shocked, but I think it's got to be on the board that has a long tail for Jared Goff. And so there's just a lot of concerns I have for the Lions next year.
Should Giannis force his way to New York? That's next on First Things First.
Drew likes that topic.
You like that one? Defense?
Oh, I'd love to see Giannis in New York.